Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode review. This time we will be reviewing episode 38 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's part 1 of the rematch between Yuga and Asana. And what did I think about this episode? Well, I liked it quite a bit. This has probably been one of my more enjoyed episodes in a while. I think, as you guys know, I kind of skipped my review last week, but if you watched Sevens Up, which is a podcast we do on Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's exclusively every Wednesday night on my channel, it's a live stream podcast, which we will be doing tomorrow night as well. You probably know that I have not been too high on these episodes recently. Sebastian Chicago, while it had a really good ending, I thought it had a pretty sad ending. The duel itself was kind of and then last episode I was just really not a big fan of, maybe my least favorite episode thus far. So I was really hoping, and I really believed, that Yuga and Asana would kind of take us back to what I have really enjoyed about Sevens, which has been, I think, a very good balance between comedic moments and plot focus. And Yuga is slowly becoming one of my favorite characters. I mean, I really just love Yuga as a protagonist. I think at times he carries the show, to be completely honest, and his duels are some of the more interesting ones just because of how intelligent he is and how smart he is at reading his opponent. And I also love that innocence and ignorance that he has, where he just loves to rely on luck and loves to just bet on chance, and he really thinks that it's so exciting not knowing what's going to happen. And really, it's that youthful innocence that I think we all had, and as we get older, we're like, you know what, I'd rather believe in certainties and take my chances on certainties rather than take my chances gambling. And Yuga really has that young, youthful vibe that really does bring me back to when I was younger, and I really do love Yuga because of that. And we see that in this episode, right, with him betting on the old prototype dual disc ID cards working to create his maximum monster, rather than just using the Yuga dragon that Neil is actually lending him. Neil wants Yuga, or is at least okay with Yuga using his maximum monster to counter Asana's monster, and instead of just taking the short chance with Yuga Dragon, Yuga goes, no, I want to do exactly what Asana and this group did, and I want to experience that chance, because even though it's a less chance, that's what makes it more exciting and memorable, and boy does it. Yuga is absolutely right about that, and he's able to get Magnum Overrode again in this episode. But before we get to the duel, I thought the chemistry between Yuga and Asana throughout this episode, and really throughout this entire arc since Asana has debuted, has been really fascinating. I don't even really view it as necessarily a romantic sort of relationship that they have, but they really are blossoming a very healthy and good friendship, in my opinion. And Yuga and Asana, they build each other up during this duel. They're pressing each other to get to that next level, to be better than the standards that they have for themselves. And ultimately, I think that's exactly what friendship is, right? Friendship, you want to build up your friends, but you also don't necessarily want to be a yes man for your friends. You want to kind of encourage them to reach their full potential, to take that next step. And Asana does it in this duel where she's telling Yuga to use his maximum and already knows that he's going to use his maximum. And something that I loved about Asana in this episode, there were quite a few people that said, well, you know, her win against Yuga, it was a little cheap. She blindsided him with a maximum. He didn't even have a maximum. It was a very unfair advantage. And I think that's a very valid point to make in regards to her beating Yuga, and she acknowledges it in this episode. It's not like she's very happy about the way that happened. She even says in this episode that she's thought a lot about beating Yuga using a maximum, and she said that it actually insulted the Machine Cavalry Duel Club way, and she is not happy with how that duel turned out because she had such an overwhelming advantage. So the fact that she even acknowledged that she had such an advantage in that duel, man, my respect for her just went up 10 notches because of that line alone. And just seeing them encourage each other, and when they make a counter move to negate an effect or stop one of their combos, the compliments that were coming from both of them, the genuine compliments, you can tell that these two characters just want to have a very good, fun, memorable duel. And I think it's fascinating because while they want to have a good, fun, and memorable duel. Let's not forget the stakes here. The stakes are massive. If Asana wins, Yuga, or actually not Yuga, but all elementary schools are banned from rush dueling, and if Yuga wins, I believe the Machine Cavalry Duel Club will disband, or at least Yuga and company will be allowed to go back to their regular school. I'm actually not sure if they will disband the Machine Club. I vaguely remember that, but I watched the episode a couple days ago, so I might be wrong about that. But Yuga will be able to return, and if he loses, Rush Duels pays the ultimate price and probably will go extinct, which is exactly what Nail was trying to do to it in the last arc. Probably the most interesting part of this episode was the dialogue before the duel begins. Yuga and his friends find all the prototype duel discs, and Hunt uncovers it by sneezing. That's his sneeze cavation abilities. I believe that's what Rook referred to it as. Rook had another episode where just a lot of silly comments. I think Rook is at his best when he's commenting on the duel and the intensity of the duel, which that kind of is what he reverted to as the episode went on. But early on, he had a couple of comedic moments that were a little over the top. But again, that's just how Rook's character is, and I know a lot of us kind of lost a lot of stock in him in the last episode. A lot of us were not really happy with how he was portrayed. So maybe it's just something that I'm starting to notice a little more now with Rook, because I kind of want him. He's always going to be a dumb comedic character. He really has been since the beginning of this series, but I'd like there to be a little bit more. I'd like it to be toned down just a little bit. It doesn't need to fully go away. It's not going to fully go away, and I'm completely okay with that. But I think it just needs to be toned down a little bit. And so that was something that I kind of noticed in this episode. Although the sneeze cavation pun was fun, and every time he said a pun like that or he did something dumb, either Roman called him out or Hunt called him out. So again, he is kind of being the punching bag of the group, which, that's the role that he's playing in this arc, and it is what it is. But Hunt is unable to uncover these duel discs, and Asana and her team come, and Asana and Yuga start talking before the duel begins, and Yuga's pressing her, right? Because Yuga is probably the most intelligent character. Maybe Nail is up there with him in terms of IQ, and honestly, I'd put Asana up there as well. But Yuga's a very intelligent character, and he knows that it's something deeper than just disrespecting the old methods that the Mutsuba family created. He knows it's something deeper than that, and he even presses her on it, and he's like, what else is it? Because I don't think it's just that. And Asana kind of takes a note to that, and Galliant and Schwer do as well, and they say to Asana something along the lines of like, no, don't. As in, like, don't say what the actual motivation here is. And Asana just goes, you know what, let's stop this conversation, let's just get to the duel. And Yuga was like, all right, fine, because Yuga, at that point, that's enough confirmation for him to know that there is something deeper going on here. And pressing on it is not going to lead him to get any more answers than he needs to get. And again, that just speaks to Yuga's intelligence and ability to read situations, which is something that I really do love with his character. And that was probably the most interesting exchange story-wise that I think this episode had. Obviously, Asana is not just doing this for her. She is doing this at the request of Mr. Goha, and whether she knows what Mr. Goha's actual goals are and actual intentions are, I don't know if she does. I really don't. But there's something deeper here. We know that there's something deeper, and hopefully in this next episode, episode 39, the true finale of this arc and the finale of this duel, we will get to know that deeper meaning. The duel takes place, and it's Maximum versus Maximum, which we kind of expected, but a great ending to this episode, because both of the Maximum monsters have 3,900 attack, and so in a regular world, both Maximum monsters are going to crash and destroy each other, and that'll be that. But because the cards are starting to fail, the cards are failing because the ID cards that they created Maximum with, also great episode to discuss how Maximum works and how creating Maximum cards work. I don't know if we knew that Nail used the top of hexagon ID cards to create Maximum. I think that was a new piece of information, so that makes a lot of sense as to how Neil was able to get Maximum right before he obliterated Yuga in their first duel back in episode 23. Because the prototype ID cards are so old and decaying, I mean, 90% of them didn't work. Asana literally used the word miracle to describe the fact that they actually did work and were able to get 3 to work to create her maximum. Because they're so old, they actually can't withstand the power of being in a duel for very long, or maybe it's because they're attacking another maximum, and that requires a lot of dual energy, but the cards are literally decaying. Yuga's maximum and Asana's maximum are decaying, and the sequence of events that they did that, where it looked like Asana's monster was just going to fade away, and then I think it was Rook who actually took notice, where he was like, well, we can't celebrate yet, because I think he was the first one who realized that Yuga's monster was also fading away. And this is what Sevens has done really well, and even though the duels, when maximum is not involved, for me, besides the ace monsters, are a little repetitive and a little boring, if I'm going to be honest. Again, I give them a pass because they're trying to promote a new game. I understand that. But something Sevens has done really well is had these unique stipulations on final arc duels. Remember, Roa versus Yuga. Yuga had a monster in his deck that was banned, and he didn't find that out until after the duel began, meaning if he drew Sevens Road Magician, he would automatically lose. No other Yu-Gi-Oh anime has had a duel where a setup like that occurred. So that was a very unique thing to do. And now in this situation, the episode ends with both of these monsters starting to fade, and whatever monster fades away first, the other maximum is going to get the attack through, and one of these players, one of these duelists, is going to take 3,900 points of damage. I have to imagine that it will be Yuga taking that damage, and he will be at a 4,000 to 100 life point disadvantage with Asana's turn coming up. It'll give Asana a massive advantage. The other way I can see it playing out is maybe if both of these monsters just fade away at the same exact time, so no attack goes through. I could see that happening as well, but it looks like episode 39, there might not be any maximums involved in 39, which will be very, very interesting and kind of exciting. You know, we'll see these two duel with no maximums, which will be really cool. But honestly, the dueling action, the dialogue, and just, again, a better balance of comedic moments. Absolutely. That's not going to go away with Sevens, and it shouldn't, frankly. It is a comedic show, and comedy is the main trope. But a much better balance between plot moments, meaningful dialogue, and comedy. And that's, in most episodes, Sevens has done that very well, and I am very excited for the season finale. This was a necessary episode to try and bring, I think, a lot of fans who were wavering back in and keep them for the finale and try and introduce them to whatever the next arc is going to be in episode 40. But guys, we have a lot more to discuss when it comes to this episode. Every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I go live right here on Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything with a podcast I like to call Talkin' Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Up. It's me, my friend Pete, my friend Nick T, and Cal, as we all discuss in depth with you guys, the beautiful community, our thoughts on the most recent episode and the entire show of Sevens. And then on Friday, I will be doing a live watch-along and pre-show to the season finale. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I'm excited to talk all things episode 38 with you down below. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, Jarrett Buller, and X-Slayer 64, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Anime Kaput, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, XZsLover 104. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and who is a YouTube channel member. You guys help me out tremendously, and I would not be able to do this without all of you. I stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/SuperDeepRot. Link to that will be in the description. Thank you all so much for your amazing support. I will talk to you down below, and I hope you have an amazing day.